ICP is taking the world by storm, and I wanted to ask the question and do myself a favor to see if this would be a good play, but more overly, how many ICP going into the next bull run of 2024 and primarily the peak of 2025 do you need to hit a millionaire dollar status? But more overly, like, what is going on with this coin? Why is it ripping so much? Or why is every time I go on YouTube that there's ICP video here, ICP video here? So, going to do a little bit of research. I might do an investing. We're going to talk about that at the end, but like I said, how much do you need to be a millionaire? Drop in the comments below if you hold any, and your future price predictions. I'm going to try and give my best example possible, and obviously worst case to give both sides of the stories. But before this, I want to give you an example if you guys haven't heard the story of me and my mate with Solana. So I'm starting to compare this coin very much towards Solana, not what it's doing exactly. I would say it's more of them trying to compete with Ethereum, but I'll talk about that in a second. But if you've not been unfamiliar, I've talked about the story a bunch of times because I try and teach you guys as many lessons from my mistakes as possible. If I can give you and make one person not lose his cryptocurrency money like I did in 2021, that is the whole goal behind this channel. And what I will tell you is this reminds me exactly of Solana, and I feel myself, most other coins as well, not just ICP, asking myself, oh, it's too late, it's already started to go, etc., etc. And I said this for Solana. I looked at it around here with my mate Dean, and we were very, very, very starting to go heavy towards the end of 2020, and then obviously at the start of 2021, we really started to get every part of our money in. We were a believer, cryptocurrency is the next thing, we wanted to get rich, and we started to see our portfolio go crazy. But Solana, we were looking around right here, and when it started to do a 10x in pretty much a month or so, we're like, it's already too late, let's start looking at other projects. We started to look at it again and again and again, and it just started to go in its ear. And this was kind of the last point before we left it, if that makes sense. It was at $37, and we're like, okay, we'll wait for a dip. It's probably going to go back to under $10. And, look at the chart right here. It just went and went and went and went. So I look at ICP all time. It looks like a disaster. And it's actually way worse than this, because if you look at the top of the top of the top, it pretty much launched and then everybody dumped, etc. Some people say it was like kind of like a big correlating event where people just dumped this, and then obviously that's why it's so cheap right now. But the coin technically is at 2,800, but I would class it as 400 to 600. That's what we can see in coin market cap. And again, I looked at this and it reminds me again of another coin, if you guys are familiar, of Jasmine. It's just the same game all the time. And I keep asking myself, okay, well, what is this coin doing? It looks like a complete rug pull. But when you look into the project, and that's what I wanted to do some research on this today, like, it is starting to come back. Just quickly in the Golden Gauge indicator, if you guys are using this, it is looking very, very lovely on an entry, and it's been on an absolute tailwind. The Golden Gauge called it again, $2-3, you got an entry, and it's just 4 to 5x that of it right now, and I think it's going to be plain sailing in the next bull run. But again, we're going to answer the question. But let's break this down, because there's many facts that I did some research, because you can't just look at a thing and look at its previous all-time high and say, okay, well, it's at 400 to 600, that's where it's going to go. Because most coins, believe it or not, and you're not going to like to hear this, most coins do not go back to their all-time high unless they're solid plays. So I wrote this down. An Argentina journalist once said, when you make a list of the best football players in the world, you can't include Pele. Pele is another category. The same goes for ICP and blockchain when it comes to speed. Now, HBAR, Hedera, and some other plays are way up, way up this, but if you just look at them compared to the blockchain types by TPS, ICP, once again, absolutely kills all of the competition. So that's what I want to say off the start. Now, here's what we see with the problems that we never see on ICP. The network's never going to be down. Solana, how many times in the last bull run did the network go down, the price started to crash, and it's already happened, very recently. Number two, I just paid $1,000 for gas fees. Ethereum, for example, I promise you guys, if you got ERC20 coins, and there's nothing wrong with this, that's why I'm so bullish on Ethereum, but I promise you, I'm not going to say you're going to be paying thousands of dollars for gas fees, but you're going to be paying a couple $100 in gas fees, and some of you guys, like, that's fucking crazy, and it is effing crazy, but that's just because the network is just so expensive. ICP, you're never going to see that. There's so many of us, the network's getting slow. ICP is never going to get slow. Ethereum is so slow to send money. Again, I'm a big believer of Ethereum, but this is why I usually send stuff with Tron, because it's faster and it's cheaper. For example, moving just stuff out of KuCoin right now is a $25 fee, let alone it takes like 20 to 30 minutes. And even for me, I always ask myself, I'm always constantly waiting to see where I'm sending it to. I'm like, why has it not come up yet? Why has it not come up yet? But lo and behold, it always does come up. But gives you a little bit of panic. Whenever I do USDT, TRX on the Tron network, for example, it costs literally free, 1 or 2 pennies, and it's there within a millisecond. So again, you're not going to see these issues with ICP. I transferred more than 1 minute ago and it hasn't arrived. Just like I said, AWS is down, my crypto is not working. I just spent all my savings to host a forum on the blockchain. Damn, it was discovered at the project. There was no one else but a guy eating his pizza in his room. So again, these last two, I'll know my coin is just a meme and the CEO disappeared. Big players in the space, not just some guy like Dogecoin and Shiba. Like, we don't know who these guys are created are. somewhat, and there's probably just some guy in his basement, to be honest. With these top projects that we always talk about, or we try to give the best use case possible, ICP, even, Solana, etc., HBAR, they're big players in this space. They're not just some guy that just disappears. For example, like Celsius. I was a big believer in Celsius. The CEO, he's gone. He abandoned the project because he got in trouble, and that is not good. I wanted to do this as well, before we get in price predictions, etc. I wanted to ask ChatGPT. It's going to give me some examples and what ICP can do, what ChatGPT thinks, and what its really use cases are. Because again, price predictions are great, but if it has no use cases, what the ones we talked about here, which is obviously ticking the boxes, but what else does it do? Well, it builds decentralized applications, dApps, including building and deploying decentralized applications. Great use case, much needed in the crypto space. 2, smart contracts. 3, decentralized finance, which is enabling financial activities without traditional institutions, which is great because we don't need these big players. We can do it ourselves. It's fantastic. There's a lot of value in there. And obviously it goes further down supply chain management, blah, 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 tokenizing assets, government systems, data storage, which is obviously a massive one. So again, a lot of use cases with a great previous all-time high. So it ticks a lot of boxes so far. But let's go down a little bit further. So what in theory it does, it's any kind of application can be created to run on an ICP social forum network such as LinkedIn, TikTok software, similar to all the familiar applications you know today. And that's what ICP can do. For example, I actually know not a lot of guys, but 2 or 3 guys that literally host their websites on ICP. I think Jerry Banfield is one of the guys that does this himself. So it has a lot of use cases. It's cheaper and it's faster. So why do we still ignore ICP? I gave you that story of Solana at the start of me just ignoring it. It was still on my radar, but why are people ignoring it? And even me. Why have I not got any in my portfolio? Because I did have Solana. I took nice profits on that and rolled it into QNT. I will probably go back into Solana. Depends where we are in the cycle. But ICP is back in the top 20. I think at the current time of recording, it's ranked number 16. And it literally made a 50% high recently in one day. Now, there's not a single post about this coin in weeks, only told recently, like in the last month or so, that if you just Google or YouTube ICP, it's going fucking crazy. And that's obviously because YouTubers want views. Hello, that's why I'm here. But also, I want to give you guys a use case and to see if it is a good investment for you. And to answer that question, the boring question, but it's kind of exciting, how many to be a millionaire? That magical question. Of course, we want to take profits. The goal should obviously to become a millionaire. I get it, but let's guarantee some profits. Let's not be holding the bags to some stupid price predictions, and we'll talk about that. But it's a serious project, a big team, a lot of developers, and its vision is to get, like I said, the decentralized AWS alternative to at least something to think about. It's a truly decentralized internet living, 100% on a blockchain, and a lot of people still ignore this. But this is how you completely ignore a $6 billion project, and that's about to compete with Ethereum. Now, a lot of people are going to be losing their shit there because I just said I'm trying to compare it to Ethereum. Not exactly, but what I am telling you guys to think about is what they're trying to do and how cheap and scalable they are. You look at a $6 billion market cap on ICP, you come down and you see Ethereum. Yes, it's Ethereum. The market cap is 306. Now, what I'm not saying, you look at the previous all-time high of Ethereum, and that's what the price is right now in terms of the market cap. But if you look at the market cap in the last high, it was for $1 trillion. Think about that. It's probably going to hit $1 trillion in market cap, which is fucking crazy. I would think it easily smashes $1 trillion. It might even hit 2. That's how crazy, Ethereum will be. What I'm just telling you guys, I'm not telling you this coin is going to take over ICP, but I'm looking at returns because, yes, I have a lot of Ethereum, but I've got over 6 figures in Ethereum. For Ethereum, a 4 to 5 to 6x, 10x maximum, but you're probably not going to see a 22k Ethereum. You have to ask yourself, is Ethereum worth it for the small investor? And I would say no, because what ICP at a $6 billion market cap, how much can they catch Ethereum? And they don't even need to become half of it. They don't even need to become a quarter of it. Even a tenth of it are going to give you way more gains because they're so small in terms of market cap compared to where they were at before. Even higher than this, if you look at our trading view, again, I don't really count $2,800 as a kind of launch, even though you technically did get that, if that makes sense, because it was so launched and then it just, like, look at this wick, $2,800. I don't really count that. Like I said, for me, I count it around the $400 to kind of $600 around about here because it just fell, just because of, like I said, a lot of inside information. I believe from my basic research before this video, a lot of people dumped this to kind of manipulate it, etc. But regardless, at $13 right now with the use cases, with the scalability, with actually people using it in the real world, compared to Ethereum, that's all I'm going to say. We'll go down a little bit further, but just keep that in mind. But again, is this the future of Web3 backends? I'm tired of people thinking it isn't, because again, we look at Web 2 and we come over to Web 3 and we're right here with Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, and BNB, destroying these, and we're moving on to this new space. I'm not here to say ICP, like I said, is going to snipe Ethereum. I'm simply saying it probably shouldn't be ignored, because if you look, this is what people just need to understand. This was even hard for me. Look at the market cap, look at what the project's doing, look at the hype, of course, and the recent hype. There's a lot more hype behind ICP and probably going to be a lot more in the bull run, think about the returns. That's all I'll say to you. Really, really, really don't. I'm not here to say that it's going to compete with Ethereum. I'm just telling you guys to think of the returns compared to Ethereum. Again, holy F boys, this was at literally 2,800. Like I said, I really count it from around about here. It was on a slow death, but obviously bear market, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be hard to be holding any coin if you're launching a bear market. It's going to be near impossible to go up, let alone hold your price. But again, recently, in the last, what are we at? Not long ago, October, September, so a few months, it's just been on a constant rip, around about a 13 or so X from the lows of 2, a little bit less than that, actually like a 6X every time, 6 by 2, 12. But again, where has it been? What are the use cases? It looks effing amazing. Now here's also what I dug up and the facts behind this play. ICP supports full web applications like OpenChat, DCRV, and enhanced with ecosystems such as Solana. So again, massive use cases, again, for such a small market cap compared to Ethereum and all these other plays. Its unique infrastructure enables seamless integration of full web looking applications. Again, great use cases. Chainlink increases scalability. ChainKey enhances scalability, competing with giants like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And its subnets ensure sustainable expansion, just like, Solana was having a lot of downtime recently, especially in the last bull run. It was going fucking crazy. People were losing their shit. Think about this. If I go, and this has happened to me before, and I lose my fucking shit. This is why people, in my opinion, like the dollar and all these other currencies are going to go to zero, especially with banks. I don't want it to happen, but it's just somewhere I think. Like the other day, it's happening quite a lot with my Bank of Scotland card. You log on, it's just like refresh, and it's like, sorry, our systems are down. No, it's just for like a couple of minutes, but like, I don't have a couple of minutes sometimes. If I need to send money to pay somebody for etc., I don't have a couple of minutes to come and check. I need 100% open times, and I need to be able to send my money free, pretty much, and scalable. And obviously, if you try and send money over the seas, it takes days, and it takes a lot of time. And again, network issues are obviously a big problem. So again, you just look at the future, and it's a no-brainer why these projects are going absolutely crazy compared to the dollar value, and they're always be going up if they've got a great project. And, if you believe ICP are doing that, you would do an investment. ICP positioned itself as an internal force heading for a future of truly decentralized web. And again, this is why ICP is just trying to capture everything. Obviously, market cap is 6 billion. You'd expect it to go way, way higher if you look at the previous market cap. That's why I would say it's going to be absolutely crazy. Now, here's where you guys are here. The fun bit that we all like to talk about. First of all, drop a comment if you are invested in ICP and how many you have and what you think the price prediction would be to be hit millionaire status. Now, I'm going to be speculative here, but I'm also going to give you a profit-taking strategy because that's obviously the most important, because you could ride ICP up to $10 billion. But if you don't take any profits, it didn't matter, because I promise you in the next bear market, it will crash. I promise you. There's going to be no coins that survive bear and bull markets unless we are more sustained, and that's probably going to be happening after 2029, 2030. Then it'll probably be more chill. Bull market, little dip. Bull market, little dip. But I promise you right now, blow off tops, and this is the fun part, because we get to ride this with small amount of money, but we get violent crashes, and you should be taking 20% up, 20% up, 20% out, you may believe 10%, and you can still scale out on the way back, because remember, you buy here. So it doesn't matter if you're scaling out even down here, you're still making a 10 to 20x here, but you're making 100x here. That's obviously an ideal scenario. It depends on your project. So here's the maths. Like I said, and again, real quick, what I like to see as well is website visitors are going fucking crazy, right? This 3x of website visitors are almost back at 1 million, and that's obviously, more people on their website, more people are going to invest, more big companies are going to be using that. It's a win-win-win. If you see websites that are like this, and then they're fucking dying, be very aware that the price is about to dump if it hasn't already. So let's break this down. If we were to buy 1,000, this is the fun part, buy 1,000, and the previous, like I said, is 2,800. Again, I'm not here to count this. Like, it's pretty silly to say that. But imagine if it just went back to its previous all-time high. Even if you bought today and you could have bought this in half and you could have doubled this, but that's $207,000. And like, this is hard. This technically doesn't count. Like I said, for me, I look at its previous all-time high of 400 to count, 600, give or take. It was there for a little bit longer. So you would have to almost put 20 grand in, give or take. You'd actually have to put a little bit more than that. But yeah, if you believe that's going to happen, great. But there's a lot of people who are saying this is going to $1,000. And I'm not opposed to saying that. I think it can quite easily do that just looking at its previous all-time high. I think ICP, believe it or not, is one of the biggest discounted coins in terms of what its previous all-time high was. Of course, it has to pull through. And I believe it will pull through. But again, look at sell price in this of 20 grand investment. You're clearing that by miles. You could scale this down to probably, 17 or maybe even 15K. You're still way over the 1.1 million. So it's nice. Now again, look at that in terms of how many you would need. You would just have to bring this up. And that would give you about 1,000 ICP if you think it's going to go to 15K or so to smash that price target. Now again, this is up to you. You have to decide what makes sense for you. For me personally, if you were going to do an ICP, DCA, or maybe you already have your bags filled, I would, it's hard to do this on the chart because we don't have much, but I would start taking heavy profits at about the 150. That would be 20%, but then we can really let the rest run, because it depends what time you got in. But if you're buying today, that's a 10x. That's more than a 10x actually, just for 20% out of the bag. You still get 80%. I think it smashes 150. I really think it smashes 150, unless a Black Swan event happens. And like I said, that's unfortunate. This is why you have other plays. You're not just putting everything on the ICP. Like I said, I know Jerry Banfield has 99% on ICP, but he's a little bit crazy. If you look at his kind of history, he's all over the place with his mind. I think he's just he's a weird character. But I'm not here to discuss Jerry Banfield, but I'm just telling you his strategy. But that's fine. If it pays off for him and it goes to fucking $2,000, he is going to be a very rich man, and he's going to be one of the most successful investors in the bull run, because there's not going to be many gains that can print that kind of stuff unless it's a shitty meme coin, especially for a top 20 coin on CoinMarketCap. Now, what I'll tell you guys to do after that is I would start scaling heavy profits at about $400 to $500. Like I said, if you look at the chart here, that might be your second 20%. And then you might just go moonshot, because chances are if you've hit these two first price targets, you've already made all the money on your, $5,000, $10,000, even $1,000 investment. You've already made all the money, where you can let the rest run. But I would bank one more. I always like to get at least 60% out, because the last 20% or the last 40%, you can kind of do what you want. But if you can kind of sell it near the top, that would be nice. And then obviously if you take the last chunk out of 20%, there's obviously a blow off double top that we had in the previous run. It could go something like that, and then you might get a chance to take it in. But even if you hold 10% or 20% or even 30% down, you make all the money up here, so it doesn't really matter. You guys have to decide where it goes for yourself. Like I said, for me and other coins, I can quite easily, not easily calculate it, but we can kind of get a rough idea. With ICP, it's very difficult just because of the big, huge dump that it had. I've never seen like a dump like this. And like I said, that's why I don't really want to count $2,800 as the top, although technically it was. But I've never seen a coin do this. Like I said, it's down 99.999%. Now, there's two scenarios to that. That's a great DCA buy, or it's just an absolute rug pull. And I think it's been quite prominent that it has been the best investment if you were buying the lows at $3, if you came back and bought it at $3. And even if you're buying it at $13, if we can get anywhere near $1,000, which I think we have a good chance of, it's a great play. Like, it's, you do the math, it's give or take, you hit 1.3k, it's 100x on a top 20 coin. You're not going to see that on any coin market cap in the top 20. You're probably not going to see that in the top 100. There's probably no 100x's in here, right? Or very few. So ICP, in my opinion, has the best chance of 100x, but it has a quite possibility, or the highest chance. I would say HBAR and Gala, I think Gala's outside, but HBAR I still think has a 50x with a strong bull run. It's a push, but ICP should do a 20 to 50x, and that's the only coin I can see in the top 100, let alone the top 20, which is fucking crazy to see that, just because of what it's doing compared to Ethereum, compared to the small market cap. And I think Ethereum and Bitcoin and most other top 10 coins are going to run fucking amazingly. Obviously, it's hard to look at Dogecoin, and Shiba, I think, is just the fact ICP's took over Shiba, which is nice. Get this fucking little rat out the top 100. But yeah, that's my thoughts. What do you think? I'd love to know. And if you are holding it, let me know your price predictions. But I think it's difficult. Just really take your profits. It's the kind of last piece of advice. I do not want anybody to, like I said, feel what I felt in the previous run, because it sucked, man. It put me out of the game for a while. And again, I know a lot of people, like Dean, the guy in this scenario, he didn't get back in cryptocurrency. Unfortunately, just knowing what I know, he's going to be buying the highs again. That's the unfortunate situation with most Jeffrey investors. So let me know. Speak to the next one. Take care.